Hey there Ratbags, it's Jade with another look at this month's survival games. Last month in October it seemed pretty popular, you guys, over 30k views. You want to be informed about what's coming out in terms of updates, brand new games, and hopefully getting excited for maybe some demos. So if you love the survival genre, from small crafty sandbox games to hardcore survival experiences, make sure you like this video. Check out the timestamps down below if there's anything you really want to take a look at, and let's go. November survival release dates. Kicking off with a somewhat cozy game, Tinkertown. This has been out on Steam a while and it's coming to Xbox and Switch on November the 4th. I've really enjoyed Core Keeper over the last few years, so any kind of game that looks like it might have the same or similar vibe, I'm down to check out. This one does seem to be a bit more slower paced though, but it definitely has all the components: base building, crafting, farming, and taking on lots of monsters and creatures with a focus on story. So is it any good? I've got it in my Steam library, I'll give it a shot and I'll try and give you guys a heads up. But right now it's sitting on a mixed review score, so definitely check out some gameplay videos before maybe thinking of buying this game on console. Some good things with it though, it does have split screen multiplayer, so if you're looking to couch co-op with your family or friends, then this one will offer it, as well as obviously 1 to 4 player co-op too. No news on when or if it's come to PlayStation. It was meant to come out a bit earlier in October, but it does look like, yeah, it's coming out on the 4th of November now. Ifsunsets is a fantastical pirate RPG survival game. By day you'll be doing the usual, gathering resources and getting yourself a base built up, taking a look through all of these gorgeous jungle sceneries. I probably would go there with just about enough compliments. The rest of the game does kind of look a little bit old and janky, ain't gonna lie. But then try to start showing off more of the biomes and more of the fantastical elements that make up this game, and so it's definitely caught my eye, at least being interesting. This is certainly not a cozy base building affair. You will need to build bases properly, as you'll have hordes of enemies attacking you at night. It's had various prologue and demos available on Steam for a while now, but this is the full release and it's coming on the 5th of November. Single player, co-op, obviously with pals. Arriving on Steam, no news on consoles just yet, as it's only going into early access. Early access a year, and it does seem that the focus really will be on daytime is the time to go and do your business, like farming and explore and gather enough resources, as well as use some pretty colourful gliders to get around. Who said jellyfish were bad? But for sure, once it gets to the night time, that's when you've got to be more alert and start setting up your base defences with a whole host of different types of traps to try and keep yourself safe. This part of the trailer actually reminded me a little bit more of games like Dynasty Warriors, where you've got so many enemies on screen and obviously lots of damage numbers popping off. As said, some parts of it look a bit janky, but other parts I'm pretty intrigued by, so I'm going to see if I can give this a shot. As said, coming out on the 5th of November. Can only show you in the form of a short, but Enshrouded's new update is also going live on the 5th of November. Kinda wish they'd put this news out on Steam page rather than Twitter first. But yes, update number 4, where they're adding a new mountain biome, whole new group of enemies including things like trolls or ogres, plus a whole host of husbandry and new pet creatures, is arriving on the 5th of November. What I definitely like about Enshrouded is the cadence of updates lately have been pretty fast and rapid. Update 3 only feels like it came out a little while ago and have already got their next big content drop. And absolutely, the few clips they've been teasing on Twitter really do look pretty cool, with these giant enemies to now take on and face. And for sure, I'm down to go and see if I can pet the doggo, the cat, or any other host of new creatures being added that we'll now be able to have on our farmstead, including goats. There's a brand new level cap, as you would expect, also new gear, armour and weapons. I'm interested to see how the verticality works with this mountainous range. I haven't actually played much of Enshrouded, so I'm hoping that this will be the one that really draws me in and spend a good amount of time. As hopefully I've demonstrated, I showed a length and breadth of different survival games, whether they're first person, hardcore survival, or maybe something a bit more different, especially with 2D games. This one is Mirthwood. It's more of an RPG sandbox game, but it does have you relying on food to live. The art style might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I definitely feel like this is interesting. It's got some cool features. A persistent online world where NPCs will go about their own business and their own lives, and you can interact with them, good or bad. With, by the looks of things, the idea that they will react to your presence and maybe some of the deeds you've done, a la maybe Fable. So you could get a reputation as a bit of a skullduggery character going around killing and robbing, or maybe a hero of the people. It looks like you'll have choices that you can make that will affect the game, so definitely in that RPG realm, but as said, it does seem to have some sort of survival elements to it as well. Comes out on the 6th November, and if you're interested in it, you can go and check out the demo that's available for it now too. For sure, games like this, as well as Tinkertown, more than likely you'll see me playing it on my JPG Crafter channel, so make sure you go and subscribe to that as well. So not strictly survival, but you guys know I've got a bit of a taste for simulation sometimes. Techtonica comes out of early access into 1.0 and launches for the first time on PlayStation on the 7th of November. It's been on Steam and Xbox as a early access title for the past year and maybe half. And while maybe dubbed somewhat poor man's Satisfactory, it's actually got its own merits for sure, and it's a different style type of automation game. I really enjoyed it when it did come out. I did a bunch of guides, so I'll be looking forward to playing it again. But again, this is something I'm probably going to be covering on my another channel now, because I feel like that's a better home for it. With Satisfactory announcing they're coming to console in the future, maybe Techtonica want to get in there first with the launch on PlayStation and coming out with early access. Although there are some negatives, on PlayStation they've just announced that multiplayer won't be there at launch. Sony have somehow taken it on themselves to label some of the content as UGC, which pretty much means kind of created or made by players in game. Now that normally only gets attributed to games that have levels that you can share or any kind of creations that you can share with other players. Recently, Playgrounds from Grounded is a good example. What it has really meant is a certification process for adding multiplayer is a totally different thing, and since they've done it so last minute with Sony applying this label, they're forced to have to release the game as it is as now a single player experience. Techtonica devs have said they're working with Sony to try and make them see that this game isn't a UGC game, it simply is just something you can play with friends rather than share levels with the wider public. So hopefully that does get resolved, but be fair warned, on PlayStation 5 when it launches, it will be a single player experience only. There is a whole ton of new content, the desert region and biome, and wrapping up the story, which takes a lot of precedence in the game. I found this to be a lot simpler to play than Satisfactory in the end. I will be streaming this very soon on my other channel, as I've got access to 1.0 content already. 7th of November, 1.0 on Xbox and Steam, and coming for the first time to PlayStation 5. Also on the 7th, we've got Sengoku Dynasty arriving out of early access as a 1.0 game. Their last major content drop was only a month and a half ago, so it does look like their 1.0 will have definitely some new features, but the bulk of the content is pretty much in the game. It offers co-op play that you can do with your friends and pals as you run around feudal Japan building up your settlement, much like the rest of the Dynasty survival series. Toplitz have given some details though about what exactly new content there will be, and it looks like you will be able to rise up from the lower ranks to eventually becoming, I guess, the governor of a whole region. By helping taking care of bandits and rival villages or little outposts, you'll then hopefully build up your reputation and seriously get to work on building a feudal Japan empire. With a huge ton of focus of quality of life features and especially stuff to do with building and the way that your little NPCs will go about their business gathering resources for you, definitely looks to be some solid improvements. While I've never expected this to be Ghost of Tsushima style kind of graphics or maybe combat, I would say the combat in the game is shaping up to look pretty cool, and certainly better than fighting the bandits in Medieval Dynasty. They did also announce recently it will be coming to consoles next year. It's currently sitting just on a mostly positive score overall time, although recent reviews have tanked a little bit, maybe with the news that some players have not seen some of the stuff they wanted in the 1.0 update. But Sengoku Dynasty, 7th November 1.0. Astroneer has got its Glitchwalkers DLC going live on the 13th of November. It's the first time they're doing some paid content for the game that's been out a good number of years and continue to receive plenty of support. Offering a whole brand new planet and some new features to take advantage of. Definitely looks a bit more dangerous than I remember Astroneer ever looking or playing. Beyond that, really not sure what to expect. It just does look very colourful and vibrant, coming to all platforms on the 13th of November. Hands down though, the game I'm really excited for is Towers of Aghasba, coming on the 19th of November. It's going to be an open world with huge amount of different types of creatures and quirky characters as you try and rebuild a vibrant ecosystem, turning a dusty landscape into something more lush and green and encouraging new creatures to maybe come and visit and settle. This game got first announced back in 2019 with a stunning tech demo, and now the game is a fully realised dream, coming to Steam and PlayStation 5 at launch. This heralds one of the most public early access titles PlayStation's ever done, having famously been not known for having them other than a few one-offs like Ark. Updates will be arriving at the same time on Steam and PlayStation, or it doesn't look like crossplay is going to be enabled or a thing straight away. You'll have the chance to go ahead and resettle different areas as well with some unique buildings and decorations, and again try and encourage new life to spring forth. With a very Studio Ghibli kind of vibe. In fact, I do believe it's got some developers that have worked previously in that field or with them games. Definitely is the most unusual survival game I think I've seen in a long time. Some of these creatures you'll be able to clamber on top of, maybe take down a la Monster Hunter, but definitely at least hunting down certain creatures and the ability to have mounts. Right now, the donkeys kind of creatures are the only ones being shown off. I'm hoping that'll expand to a lot more in the future. But yeah, really hyped for this one. I've done so many videos covering the news and the saga of it actually getting made. It's going to be launching with 1 to 4 player co-op, but they are looking to add more capabilities to have more players in the same instances together. It is not a dedicated server type of game, not yet at least anyway. You'll just join your friends and help them out with their civilization building. So it will be an early access title. They're planning for about a year to 18 months in early access, and of course they will be adding a whole cadence of updates and new content as they go. And without doubt, that vibe of maybe Studio Ghibli mixed in with a bit of Viva Pinata makes this one of the most unusual survival open world crafting games I think I've seen in a long time. If that all sounds a bit too cozy, as said though, you will be hunting certain creatures as well as defending against really dark forces. Not too sure whether it's going to be sort of tower defense kind mode or just maybe delving into some of the darker biomes to hopefully get certain things you need. But from previous trailers, it does look like you will have to be wary of maybe certain forces coming to attack your settlements. Can it live up to the hype? I really hope so. I think this game has the potential to be massive. It's just broken into the top 100 most wishlisted games on Steam. And yeah, I'm really optimistic. Too often some games you do get behind and they end up not maybe being what you want. But sometimes it's okay to believe, it's okay to want to see something really be successful. And by looks of things, play really well. And I'm definitely keen on this one. And the last plug, I promise, it will be on my other channel, JPG Crafted for sure. And why is that? Well, with Enshrouded maybe being something I'm going to be dipping back into on my main, I'm also looking forward to maybe giving Stalker 2 a try. Not going to lie, I'm not one of these old boomers that played the originals, and I haven't always been keeping up to date with this game, sometimes even forgetting it's a proper survival game. Well, at least survival horror shooter FPS. But I am intrigued after the build up and all the problems the studio has had in getting this game made, obviously coming from Ukraine and having to deal with the Russian invasion. I'm intrigued where this could go. I've tried a few other games like this, like Heart of Chernobyl, and there's an MMO style game like this called Pioneer coming out in the future too. But this is probably the inspiration behind so many of them titles, and obviously a lot of people really are hyped for this. From a lot of the hands-on and stuff that other bigger outlets have managed to get hold of, they're saying it's a pretty basic game in its true form. You will not be handheld as you go around trying to explore obviously this radiation zone filled with strange anomalies, weird creatures and other humans trying to hunt you down. It does feel like the heavy emphasis on bandits and maybe taking some of the back routes rather than going through the main is the order of the day. And who doesn't want to explore some abandoned fairgrounds? Of course, Stalker 2 will be available on Xbox Game Pass, and given they've changed things slightly recently with certain new releases only being available to Ultimate members, I'm presuming that might be the case with this one too. This comes out on the 20th of November, and of course it will be launching on Xbox and Steam exclusively, but not forever, only 3 months in fact by the looks of things, before maybe appearing on PlayStation 5 in the early new year. Well, at least that's the period exclusivity Xbox have managed to ball and secure, helping fund and do a lot for the studio making the game. I have played a few games like this, like I said, over the years, but it does feel like a while, and I'm not too sure if this is my jam anymore, but I definitely want to give it a try and see if I can get sucked into the immersion. Of course, it's a single player experience, and yeah, coming out on the 20th of November. And that's pretty much it, other than maybe a good quality of life update for Dawn Defiance arriving on the 27th of November. That's my pick of the best of the new releases and stuff you need to know about updates. Of course, there will be much more, I'm sure, announced with short notice, so make sure you check in regularly on my survival show and my survival review where I delve deeper into issues or brand new stuff that's happening. If there's anything I've missed, do leave the name of the game in the comment section down below, or anything you just want me to check out, and I'll see you RATBAGGERS for more, hopefully next month, for December's survival release date info.